evening, everyone. I'd like to open the Alton Planning Board for Tuesday, August 19th, 2025. Call it to order. Roll call of members. My name is Bill O'Neill. I'm the chairman.
Doug Brown, Mark Manning,
Roger Stamp.
Tom Tiffany,
Christine O'Brien.
And Nick Bonapane.
Everyone's here, so we do not need any alternates. And next is approval of agenda. Any changes made to the agenda?
Yes, there have been some changes to case P2503 for changing seasons engineering for Richard Lundy. They've requested the application to be continued to September 16th. So if anyone is here for case P2503 for Richard Lundy on Miramichi Hill Road, it's been continued till next month.
No.
Correct. That's not taking place tonight. So it's September 16th, so it's a month from now. It's on another Tuesday night. Okay. Let's see. Case P2525, that has been withdrawn for Randy and Misty Cooch out on Alton Mountain Road. There's been an addition to other business. It's 2B, and that's the discussion regarding this year's ZAC and CIP committees. There is an addition to 3B. It's a voluntary merger for pre-existing lots for the Lakes Hospitality Group out on Cherry Valley Road. And that's it.
second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries.
Mr. Chair, can I just do a couple housekeeping
Sure.
things before we move forward?
Mhm.
So if you can just be cognizant about speaking into the microphone when you guys speak. Apparently, there's been some issues with the minute taker being able to hear people speak. So if you can just be aware of speaking into the microphone, it would be appreciated. And if you could either raise your hand when you make a motion or announce yourself. We have a new minute taker, so that way they have a chance to get to know you guys. I'd appreciate it.
All right, great, thank you.
She views it as well.
I'm sorry?
She views it.
Yeah, she watches it off of YouTube. Yep. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you.
All right. Okay, so we will move on to case P25-21. And this is to construct a 38-unit manufactured home park to include one site area for a single-family dwelling.
Right, so Mr. Chair, the board did completeness at the last meeting, right, and deemed the application complete. You also went over waivers. There was a waiver request for a soils report to be submitted later on throughout the approval process. You guys had noted at the last meeting that you wanted to see the soils report at this meeting, and I didn't find it in the submission, so maybe if they could clarify if it was submitted or not. Okay.
Actually, it's right there in Paul.
Okay.
There was that, there's a new waiver.
Is that second waiver request?
So the second waiver request is to not have to provide homeowners association documents. It was requested because it's listed in the subdivision regulations as a requirement, but since this is a manufactured home park, that functions differently. So their request is to waive that. and there's just a few items under plan review. When I reviewed the plan, there's just some things that just need to be added to the plan. Other than that, those are the new things.
So,
There we go. Good evening.
okay, so,
Sorry I was called out.
no, that's okay. So we have a couple, we were waiting on the soils report.
Yeah, I don't understand how you didn't get it. We had it ready. I have copies with me. I was surprised to see your report, Jesse.
Is that within the new drain, was it within the drainage report, or?
It was supposed to be, yes. The first few test pits were done back in January, and that was included. We went back and did some more testing up on top of the hill to support the septic system design. And for some reason, even though it was ready, I don't know how you didn't get it, but I have copies of it now, if you want to clean up the record. You have a stamped design on a septic system plan using this data, and from a licensed septic system designer, so I'm hoping you will accept it. I can give you a couple of copies of the report if you like.
So, just so the board knows, you requested a report from a certified soils scientist.
And who did those? Who did these?
Our soil scientist, his name is Chris Danforth. He's a licensed soil evaluator.
Yeah, you mind going over this?
No, I don't, not at all, sir. Yeah, for the record, Alan Roscoe from TF Command, representing Mr. Sorrentino. With me is his wife, Lisa, and daughter. I can walk you through some of the changes that we made, but the soil report was complete, before our August submittal deadline, and I can't explain at this point why you didn't get it. And I got Ms. MacArthur's report this afternoon, and she pointed out that it was missing. So I thought the best way was just to bring it tonight. But these tests were done at the bottom of the hill and then on upwards, and they support the septic system designs for the 4 systems that we're proposing to accommodate wastewater from this project. The septic design has been completed by our in-house septic system designer, and his stamped drawing is on the board here. soils map. And all the locations and lines that you see right now. This is the, is for the four system designs that will accommodate the wastewater flows from all of Maine homes. The residence that's being reserved, the Florentinos, that will have its own private septic system and private well.
And can you show where the test pits were actually taken on this?
This is the area of the leaching system. These locations correspond with where the leaching system is. You can see the spots in green, those are the tests that we did in late July.
Do a system for the private home.
Well, there will be, we haven't designed it yet, but, that will be its own private system. It will not be connected
It's
to.
an idea of the other side, you know. I mean, all these systems seem to be generally the same.
Right, it's designed that way, so we're sharing and separating the effluent so we can dispose of it over a large area. But given the distance and pumping requirements from the, single-family home, you know, they're better off just having their own system.
In terms of the results for those test pits, you know, there's no conclusions or anything like that from what I could see. Did they all pass in terms of perk requirements?
Yes, we would not put a system where it wasn't feasible.
Have you made any leeway with the DOT for the driveway permit?
That is still pending. I've checked the website periodically. We've made all of the submittal requests that have been made of us. All the drainage is in, and we fully expect they'll complete their review fairly shortly.
One question, so I'll ask. So you can't put a well inside the wetland buffer?
Well, with approval, yes, but we have the well radius, is that what you're asking?
It just seems like the page, but it just seemed like they were on the other side of the buffer.
Yes, but there'll be
And then you got your buffer, and then you got your development.
right, but there'll be,
It looked to me like the wells were in that buffer, and I just didn't know. I mean, I know you can't build a house in there, well, unless you can build a well.
areas that will be used to access into dig the wells will access to uplands only. So to your point, there's a bigger wetland through here, but there's a dip in the wetlands buffer. So this pathway will be used for nature walk trail and to access my water line to the well. So the only indirect wetland impact we have is for the single-family home driveway, which will be in the buffer. The only impact that we're showing on our entire project.
Roger, which page are you seeing that on?
That,
Which page are you seeing the well radius on?
C4.
C4? Thank you.
So the protected radius itself can be in the wetlands, but the well drilling and the access to it will be in uplands only.
Mr. Chair,
Yes.
so the zoning ordinance, for setbacks on the wetland buffer only refers to buildings, driveways, and structures and it excludes septic systems. It doesn't talk about wells, so I don't think that that's an issue. Chair may make a suggestion on that soils report requirement, before you get too far into the conversation. So the requirement was to have that by a certified soil scientist, so you guys should address either you're okay with what was submitted by the septic designer, or require.
The applicant is, you're saying the person that did this is a scientist, is a soil scientist, right?
That's right.
From what I just scanned it, it looked like just a bunch of data. There's no, meaningful conclusions drawn in terms of, that, these wells actually meet standards and the like, in terms of perking. Unless I'm missing something.
I would have to agree with your.
Well, we'd be happy to add that statement at the end if so be the desire.
Stuff showing up at the last minute, it's not exactly.
No, and again, I apologize. I don't know how this wasn't given to you in August. Getting this report this afternoon, I just don't know how it happened, but I apologize.
Right,
Basically.
correct.
And is there any signature on that document?
No,
Not even there's not even a name.
there's one on the one that says drainage. He signed it as the septic.
It's the same person, but I understand. There needs to be a statement, and we'll provide it.
I feel like that's one of the things we should really have an answer to, considering surrounding people, issues with well.
Yeah.
We concur.
Yeah.
No concrete soil analysis.
Correct.
Say that again?
I said right now we have no concrete soil analysis and no DOT.
For the driveway,
Yeah,
right?
for the driveway.
Changing gears, what's the latest discussions around the cistern with the fire department too?
Yeah, I had a conversation with Deputy Turcott the other day, and there's just one detail that needs to be refined, and we've agreed upon that update, and we'll make the changes to the drawings and get those right back. But he communicated to Ms. MacArthur yesterday that he had no problems with what we were presenting.
What was the change you wanted made?
It was just how we're showing the connection to the cistern, to the hydrant, and it's a very simple fix.
Okay.
If you need that communication, I have a copy.
Where is it?
Mr. Chairman, I suggest that you address the other waiver.
Yes, so the other waiver, it's for the requirement of HOA You're asking for a waiver for that?
Yes, sir. Reason being is, this requirement is understood, but where this is not your typical subdivision or multi-owner development, it just seems like it's perhaps not required in this case, because we got one owner who's gonna own all of the 85 acres. Everything that we're gonna be doing with the tenants will be rental agreements. There's no,
So you're not gonna have an HOA because they're not individually owned? is what
Correct.
You're saying?
correct.
So you're gonna have rental agreements?
Right.
Okay.
So in this particular case, we don't think that that is a, you know, is a requirement we need to follow because of the circumstances here with this type of development.
Any questions on that?
I do not. No, I actually agree with him.
Yeah. I think it's a fair point.
Yeah.
It was a requirement just because it's part of the regulations. That's just a formality.
Yeah, no, it's an untested regulation, and we're here to navigate it together, so.
And we don't have very many manufactured home parks in town, so.
And if we're on the topic of waivers, at this time, I withdraw the previous waiver request about the soils report, because we now have that complete, except for the statement from the.
Yeah,
We're gonna say, I'm not certain I would agree with it.
yeah, yeah, yeah. We're gonna need something, more than this as far as explanation, a signature from a soil scientist. I mean, we need, this doesn't say a whole lot.
Okay.
We need more than this.
I understand.
And especially the concerns with the abutters, with the whole issue with the wells, and, we wanna make sure we're covered
Understood.
with that.
I would suggest making a formal motion and voting on that, so that you'd be denying that waiver, the soils report, that they waived it.
Okay.
That would make his
Hold on.
septic designer isn't necessarily the soils scientist. You can design a septic system and put down that report without being a soil scientist. So that,
But we requested a soil scientist to do.
so do you see my point? Your septic designer isn't, unless he is a soil scientist, he may be that as well. He
No.
may be a wetland scientist, he may
Right.
be a soil scientist, he may be a septic designer.
Two different people, two different titles. So the soils analysis was done by our soil scientist, and our septic system was designed by our septic system designer.
We still haven't gotten over the first hurdle at this point, which is to have a statement that these soils really perk and are, adequate to design a septic.
And we wouldn't have done it and stamped the design if it was not. So all these guys are in-house, but I understand
Yeah, dot the i's and cross the t's.
100%.
Yeah, no, because his request is to submit it later, so, yeah, I would, right.
It's only.
I had to reread that.
No, it's only.
Yep.
Okay. So, yeah, so we're gonna need, a stamp and soil sign, and a little bit more information.
Right.
than
A
what
conclusion
this is.
statement
Right,
saying these
this
are.
doesn't tell us.
So, but to Jesse's point, I guess we need to deny the request for the waiver at this point. So I'll make a motion.
So their, the explanation was.
The initial
Yeah,
waiver was
they're in-
procedural when we made our submittal back in January. No, I'm sorry, May. Because we didn't have it complete. We had enough to go on. So we asked for a waiver for the full report. But at this time, we are providing that information, so I would ask to withdraw the waiver request.
Okay, that's fine.
That's fine.
address the second waiver.
Yeah. So
That was for the HOA, right?
that's for the,
Correct.
right, to waive the HOA because they're not individual homes where there would need to be an agreement, of landowners, and then we'd have to have a copy because they are individual property owners. These are not individual property owners, correct? And
Correct.
they're just rentals, so you're really not doing an HOA, you're gonna be doing rental agreements with the tenant.
Right. I mean, they would have permission to, use the facilities and the amenities, and pass.
So we'll
pass
still
and
need a
repass.
motion, we'll still
Yeah.
need a motion, and this is more housekeeping, because it's in the regulations that it's required, but with this situation, it's really not, so it's more of a housekeeping. So, yeah, we're gonna need a motion to waive that.
Okay. And that would be from section 714, small c.
I'll make a motion, we approve we grant the waiver request through section 714 lowercase c of the subdivision regulations.
I'll second.
Okay, any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries.
And a standstill without the DOT permit and the soil report?
So there are actually other state permits that they would need to receive. Those normally can be put as a condition of approval. And they are,
Because there's also a DES community water supply requirement too,
correct,
right?
there's AOT permit. Yeah, there are a handful of state permits that they would need. Sometimes applicants get them prior to
Yeah.
coming to the board, sometimes they don't, and they get put on as a condition.
In many cases, as Mr. MacArthur says, usually the local process runs faster than, any state or federal regulations. And sometimes you actually need a local approval to, if they don't think that you have a valid project, they're not gonna issue a permit for something that you can't build. So it's quite often done, through conditions of approval.
Yeah, and I think on the flip side of things, if the state looks at things and they ultimately end up asking for you to change things, then they may have to come back for an amendment.
Have you had any feedback from DES on any of the permits that are pending?
Well, we've had feedback from DOT and from the AOT processes, and so some of the changes that we've made to our plans were the result of those preliminary reviews. We augmented the line of sight plan that was provided because of a DOT request, and I've got a conference call tomorrow with AOT to take the next step as we move through that process.
Or would that be continued?
If I was you, I would continue that in order to be able to receive that report.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
I wouldn't just list it as a condition.
I agree with Jesse on that.
Okay, does anybody have anything else?
Stumps, I guess. You have one other, what's the plan for how you're gonna address stumps in terms of site,
Whatever the document says, no, we're not gonna bury them.
above ground disposal?
We'll use all the correct procedures.
Mr. Chair.
Yes.
There were some comments from the town engineer, and through correspondence, I received an email from him on August 11th, and he confirmed that they had addressed all of the issues that were in their initial report,
Okay.
just so you know.
This is from Ty and Bond, you said?
Correct.
Right.
All right. Does anybody else have any other questions?
No one else does, I do.
Okay, go ahead.
Ms. McCarthy, your report today, it looks like you had a new comment about current use. Is that new?
No, that was just a comment from the Conservation Commission. That was just a suggestion from them.
Okay,
That's not something you have to do. That was the conservation's suggestion, was to put the remaining land in current use or put it in some type of conservation
I
easement.
hadn't seen that in any of your reports prior, I just want to make sure I didn't miss it.
Okay, yeah, those are just comments from
Those
the,
comments, yeah.
Okay, so
yeah, I think we went over that at the
Yeah.
last
that-
We
meeting.
talked about it last
think
meeting,
so.
yeah.
if that becomes something, I would ask that we just change the language to encourage rather than require,
Yeah,
because.
that was language directly from their department head
They
review.
put that on there, we didn't.
Understood,
Yep.
but you might follow the recommendation, so I just want to get a feeling from which way the wind is blowing here, because being faced with that this afternoon, I'm not sure what, the tax ramifications are, if that reduces the density that he's allowed. I would say we just encourage the owner to consider it, and if it's to his tax benefit, then let him do it on his own, rather than make it a requirement.
Was that all you had?
If what I'm sensing from everyone is we're all on board, we're all on the same page, so appreciate that.
All right. So I'll make a motion that we continue this to next month, pending the updated soils report signed by a soil scientist and stamp, and with more information for us for the board.
I'll second that.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries.
Okay, and that's continued to the September
16th.
16th.
Discussion?
This thing here, are we gonna need this next month?
I would keep whatever you have in front of you tonight for this case and bring it back. So you have it in front of you. Yep.
So probably you should check and make sure everybody has it.
We will
I'm
probably,
gonna find you right now.
Well,
Bring that back next month.
Okay. we will be providing, because there's 4 or 5 items in your list, right?
Yeah, they're just kind of like some housekeeping stuff.
Yeah, so we'll address that, and we'll probably get a new one.
Yep. Okay.
September 2nd, right?
September 16th.
No, the resubmittal deadline.
Yes. Is it the second?
2 weeks, yeah, probably right.
September 2nd, yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
It just seems like an awful lot. The answer is no.
Sorry, could you speak up?
it's over.
Where
I was
those,
gonna-
While I hold this up.
Maybe you could do that out in the hallway, is that possible?
no, we didn't do public input because we continued it. Yep. So it's continued to next month. Okay, next case is case number P 25-22. Prospect Mountain Survey, Paul Zuzgo proposes to remove conditions to have drainage study done from approved case P 2502.
So this was actually approved last month with the conditions of the drainage study?
It was approved in January.
Yeah,
January.
January 21st.
Well, previously.
Right.
So the only issue is the drainage study at this point.
So he's requesting to have that condition removed. What you were provided was a drainage report that was prepared by a certified wetland scientist. You also have comments back from the town engineer regarding said report, and he wasn't in agreement with that. And you have department head reviews from highway and conservation.
Which also raised question.
Yes. So that's what you were provided with for tonight. Feel that everything that was submitted, that you guys could complete.
It's complete,
Yeah.
right? All you.
It's a little different. There are some things that
Well,
aren't needed
so
for
you-
this type of.
But as I recollect, even when we approved this back then, conditional on the drainage report, there was a lot of discussion about the wetlands associated with that beaver dam and the like. And we agreed to go forward on this based on the fact that we would get an adequate report back regarding the drainage.
Yep.
And it still seems, having culled through all the information that's out there, we still have question marks about whether the beavers really are at bay now and gonna be there long-term or not. And, it's been raised by both Conservation Commission even town engineer regarding this, that they question whether that really is a long-term solution.
I would just do completeness before you get into
Oh,
the.
Yeah,
deep.
that way we can ask them.
Yep.
So the application itself, to complete the application, everything is here that is needed, and then we can talk about
You
it.
just, so you
But
want a
it was
motion?
complete before, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was.
But it was a different, this is P 2502, and this is
P25.
P 25 P2, it's different, so this application is a different application, so we just need to complete it so we can move forward, so.
I'll make a motion.
Thank you.
I'll make a motion, we approve case P25 dash.
No,
No, I'm sorry. All right,
it's complete, it's,
I motion, P25 dash 22 is complete.
I'll second.
okay, any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries, okay,
Now we can.
now we can talk about it. So,
Well, if I might, I think I can shed a little bit of light. The application was approved.
Sorry, can you identify yourself?
Oh, I'm sorry, yeah, I'm Fab from Bethel Builders, and this is my son Anthony. We're working on this project together. We filed for a minor subdivision back late December of last year, and this subdivision was approved with the one contingency back in January. It's kind of a comedy of errors, if you want to call it that, but I never got the notice for that meeting, so I actually wasn't here for that meeting to, I guess, speak for myself, or to answer the concerns of the neighbor. So anyways, back to January, the neighbor did come in, he expressed concerns. I did, since then, I've watched the video, and he expressed concerns about water being put on his property, and rightfully so. I mean, he has every right to, be concerned about that, and I was happy to address it. We read the minutes over, and there seems to be like a little bit of interchanging of terms here between drainage plan and drainage study, which I'm learning a lot about this now. I've been building for a long time. I'm not a big developer or anything like that, but I do build one or two houses here and there. And I've never had to do a drainage study. I've always, in the past, I have done a drainage plan just to show like where's our water gonna go, like how are we impacting a lot by putting the house in the driveway, where's the water gonna go? So what we did is we went out and when we were made aware of the condition, of course, I was disappointed that the meeting went on without me. It was to no fault of Alton's or myself, but the notice never stayed at the post office in Gilmington. It just didn't get delivered. I guess my driveway was icy or something. But at any rate, I went out and I hired Damon from Fraggle Rock Environmental. And he is not just, I'm not sure where the comment, he's a certified wetland scientist, which he is, but he's also a New Hampshire state licensed erosion control specialist and a stormwater drainage expert, and he is state licensed. He's very hard to get. You get on the list with him, it's gonna be a couple months before he can even come and take a look. Which he did, and when he took a look, he said, "This is no problem, Fab. This is like it's a high and dry lot. We are not in a flood zone." And actually, he was a little bit surprised that we were doing a drainage plan. And I explained to him. I said, "Well, the planning board was put in a little bit of a pickle here because I wasn't there, and the neighbor was. So it was sort of like a one-sided. I'm really worried about the water. I'm really worried about the water, and then I wasn't there to I would have been able to talk with him right there on the spot." By the way, he sent a really nice letter. I don't know if you got copies of it, but he did send them to Jesse. And he copied me on it, stating that he was very satisfied with what's been done, and that he hopes that the town of Alton will give me a building permit. Anyways, back to, Damon did do up this plan. We submitted the plan to the town building department. And so there a little bit of confusion came in, because we were under the impression that we were supposed to submit a building permit application with a drainage plan. And when we did that, we got a call, my son Anthony got a call a week or two later and said, "Your permits are ready for pickup." At that time, we went down and we saw Seth Garland here at the town highway department. We met on site.
And at that point, this drainage plan was mostly implemented already. Seth brought up concerns about the road, which I noticed in the meeting too. The ditch line on the road was very shallow there. It was just a lot, it's a really ledgy lot. Seth was concerned about, the ditch line being a little shallow, and also he had concerns about the sight distance from this driveway. And there's a little knob in there, so he said, maybe if you take out the knob. And while we were at it, we went ahead and deepened the ditch line all the way down the road at my expense to the tune of just under $10,000. I cleaned up the whole road, the ditch line, re-gravelled in front of the entire frontage of the lot. And we also put in an 18-inch culvert at the end of the driveway. We installed the driveway. We hammered out all the ledge in the lot, both lots, because both lots had ledge in them. And at that point, I was already $75,000 deep into the project, just doing, that prep work. Anthony went into the town hall to grab the permits, and that's when he was told there was a little bit of a problem. They could only give us one of them and not the second one. And so at that point, I did contact building department, and they said, there seems to be some confusion, that we need to have this sent to the engineer. And it needs to be like a report, not just a plan. So at that time, we went back to Fraggle Rock, got back on his list again, and now we're already in, April or May, I'm not sure when at this point. And he did an entire report to go along with this, and we brought it back, and Jesse was able to submit it to the town engineer, who subsequently came out to the property, and he offered 2 comments. One of them was, if the planning board was looking for a drainage study, not a plan, then this is not a drainage study. This is a plan. The second comment he had, for the amount of studying that he did, we paid him, I think, $1,000 to look this over and to go out to the lot. His one and only comment was, if it brings water to the road in the wintertime, it could ice up. Well, that can happen on any ditch line. It's interesting to note, for the rainy summer that we had, basically what I understood the original subdivision approval was, the concern on the contingency was, are we gonna drive water to the neighbor's property? That's otherwise, I think this thing would have been approved just the way it was. And so we addressed that by, first of all, there's a beaver dam and a wetland there. So I put everything out. I put all my feet out there. It's like, I want to do the right thing. I'm going to make the neighbor happy. I'm going to make the town happy. I'm going to make Seth happy. We're going to get them a drainage plan. And that's what I did. I spent a lot of money and time doing this. We called a New Hampshire licensed trapper, and he went out there and he's like, yeah, you probably have some beavers out there. Sure enough, he got 4 beavers. The dam, we're all talking about dam. I want to be clear, the dam was this tall. It's not like some giant big beaver dam. It's not some big pond. It's basically just a boggy, wet, grassy area. So what I did over the summer, after the 4 beavers were removed, every day, every once a week, I went out and I took out 2 inches of this dam and let the water come down. Because he just wanted to take the whole thing out and just let it all rush out. I did 2 inches, so I did a controlled release over, say, the month of July. And to be honest with you, we had heavy downpouring rains all spring. It was just a really wet spring. And this lot is dry as a bone. The road is dry as a bone. The ditch line, it's the best part of the ditch line on the whole road. It's the deepest, it's the widest now after our improvements. And I just don't understand where this is all coming, especially now where the neighbor is concerned. And so I did reach out to an engineer, and he said, what's happened here is common. And even I, as a builder my whole life, my father before me, I did not understand the difference between, when I use the term study or use the term drainage plan, a study means usually on very large subdivisions or commercial projects, large parking lots where there's going to be huge influx of water in one spot and it's going to be concentrated to one area. Then you want to do a study to say, okay, how big do our culverts need to be? How big do our ditch lines need to be? But the engineers all said to do a drainage study on this is going to take months, it's going to be thousands more dollars, and it's unnecessary. And I found it interesting to note that when I brought it up to the town engineer, he did reply back and said,
this is quite unusual. It's not normal that you would do a drainage study for something like this. However, that being said, the planning board said, someone on the board, I don't know who, everyone was saying plan. And then at some point, someone said study, and somehow the final decision was a plan and a study. Well, and so here I am. I mean, I'm 9 months later. I've spent all this money. I've got a beautiful plan by a certified, this guy is a stormwater expert. This is what he does as a professional for a living. He designs and inspects stormwater drainage. And you know, he's very confident in what we've done here. And I've seen, like, even with those heavy rains that we had a couple weeks ago, they're just like a big flashing flood. This ditch had like this much water in it. The ditch is this deep. It's this wide, and it's all stone swaled. You know, the comments, I was a little bit surprised at Seth's letter, and I've since spoke with him. Because Seth and I had met on site so many times and talked about it, and the last time we spoke, he said he was very satisfied with what we did, and he told me that he would even write me a letter to the planning board. He did, he surely did write me a letter to the planning board, but it was not what I was expecting. And so,
And you're referring to the letter of
yeah, his comment, yeah.
Yeah.
So I did since talk with him and try to figure out, you know, I was like trying to understand, once I read the letter, I was like scratching my head thinking, all right, where did I go wrong here? And, you know, he expressed his concerns, and I thought, all right, again, when I said in the beginning, kind of a comedy of just strange events. I don't think Seth understood why we were doing this drainage plan to start with. I think he thought that there was a concern over the road. I'll let him, he's here so he can speak for himself, but this is what I've concluded, that, you know, he wasn't here for the first meeting, and he kind of got blindsided by the whole thing in the beginning too, because he gave me the driveway permits, and then all of a sudden they're pulling my building permit. My big dilemma is that I've almost got this house completely finished, and I can't sell it over a ditch. Like, and I told Seth, I mean, if everybody's up in arms over this ditch, why don't I just fill it in? You know, I don't see why we would fill it in, but if everybody's up in arms over a ditch line, it's a beautiful ditch line. And it's dry, it's bone dry when it rains. It handles the water better than any ditch I can see on the road. And, you know, it's interesting. It's like, we want to do a drainage study. It's a very intense mathematical, scientific thing I don't know enough about to really tell you. You know more about it than I do. For this one area, there's never been a flood here. It's not in a flood zone. The next door neighbor has an identical ditch going down his driveway. The neighbor beyond that, 2 neighbors beyond that, have another ditch line going down the side of their property to the road. And why is it all of a sudden that my ditch has to have all these, you know, special studies? Like, I'm not, it's not that I'm against having to do it, or, you know, I don't want to defy what the board said, but I feel like I've really done what the board has asked me, and then I've gone beyond, upgraded the roads to the tune of $10,000, and still here I am with no building permit and a house that's stuck I can't sell.
This big beautiful ditch you talk about, is it on the town's ditch line?
It's
Or
been
is it on your property?
on our property.
But you just made a delivery to the road.
It was already
Gotta
going.
wait for the water to get down to the
Sure,
road.
sure, but it was already going to the road. So we just cleaned it up. So there's,
And that's why. What was sent to him? I mean, he wasn't here, so somehow he had to be told that he had to do something. Was he told, do a plan?
It said right here, he was, prior to a building permit being issued, a drainage study and plan shall be completed and submitted to the building department to be reviewed by the town engineer at the owner's expense. It was written in January.
In a sense, it's already been reviewed by the town engineer, but the only thing that wasn't done was the study. I mean, it seems like if a condition was a study, that's where you would start.
but I didn't understand that there was, I guess I didn't understand that a study had to be something other than what we've done. I mean, we had a certified stormwater management expert licensed with the state of New Hampshire who specializes in erosion control do a study for us. It's a 5-page report here. There's plans. They spent a lot of time on them, we implemented them, and we upgraded the road just to keep everybody happy. I don't, you know, I don't think we tried to skirt anything. It's just that the time that it takes for all this stuff to happen, and then the town engineer comes back and says, technically, this is not a study. Well, I guess there's something else that we
How
want
did
here.
the first building permit get issued? If the study was required for a building permit, how did the first one get?
Good question. I'm told.
You're looking at me. I'm not the building inspector.
I wasn't the one who approved the permit, but, I was told that it was okay, we were given a permit for the first one, and they said, this one's gonna be on hold until we send these to the town engineer. And it just takes so much time,
Well,
you
you
know.
only sent, you sent the study, right? You didn't send a plan.
Plan.
I mean, I'm sorry, you sent a plan, not a study.
Well,
You said, right?
according to town engineer, he says it's not technically a study, but we understood it to be a study. We hired.
Why would the same piece of paper validate both a study and a plan?
Wasn't the same. So there's actually a report that went along with this plan, done by Fraggle Rock Environmental. And
No, but what I'm asking is if you had only submitted one piece of paper for the plan, right? If it said and, obviously you need two. There should be something else.
so we did submit what we thought was a study.
Okay.
What happened is it was reviewed by the engineer, and he did make a trip out to the site. And, you know, his comments were extremely limited. He said basically one little comment about the ditch. And he didn't, to me, was saying he wasn't concerned about it, but he did say if the planning board really wanted a study, and if that was their true intent here, then this is technically not one. And that's where I didn't know. I mean, so I did, like I said, I contacted an engineer, and he says, jeepers creepers, he says, if you're gonna do a drainage study on this, it's one lot. He said, you could have put a house there anyway, you could have always had the ditch, the water was always going to the road, it slopes down right here. So the dam is here, and it's just a slight slope down. And this neighbor has a ditch here. But what we're asking the planning board is to accept the plan that we've submitted and to accept the report that was given by our C-spec and wetland scientist, and accept the drainage that we've done as complete. And again, it's not a major subdivision. We're not building roads here. We're not building parking lots. And the next door neighbor who originally started all this is very satisfied. I can read you his letter if you like. It's short, but it's
The study, I think the intent of the study, now I vaguely remember the meeting in January, because I remember he was very upset about the watershed coming off from that beaver dam.
right.
I think the intent of why we did that was to make sure that you're a builder, you just said that, you're gonna sell the house. So whoever takes over the house is now gonna have to deal with the watershed. The reason that we put a study in place was to make sure that we weren't gonna have water issues later on, and if there was, you know, if anything were to happen, we would have a way to rectify it. So you can't, you like, just pass the buck to the new homeowner, and, you know, he may be satisfied right now, the neighbor might be satisfied right now, but what happens if it does flood, or the beavers come back, or something like that? What happens to it then?
Well, let me play devil's advocate. What happened 20 years before me?
That was 20 years ago. We're talking about right now.
I know I'm talking about right now, but you're talking about right now, and I'm talking about all these years in the past. That has never flooded. I've improved it significantly, and I've gone ahead and improved the road on top of that at my expense, and I've removed the beavers. I would like to think that if someone buys a beautiful home and they see that there's a beaver that's making a 6 or an 8 inch or a 10-inch tall dam, that they will go ahead and, you know, do the maintenance.
But I think the problem is that it's the neighbor's adjacent premise that's gonna be flooded, as I understand it.
I remember he was
And I
very
think
upset about
you've captured the discussion pretty
The
accurately.
neighbor's land's gonna be flooded whether I have a house there or not. The house has nothing to do, absolutely zilch to do with the neighbors. I'm being denied to build a home. Okay, so this land's gonna exist whether I build a home or not. The beaver dam's gonna exist whether I build a home or not. It's always been there.
Yeah.
And I've done a significant amount of improvements in good faith. None of this was like underhanded or trying to, go off the
Yeah,
back door
understood.
here. And, at this point, I'm cruising up towards a year, and we're gonna do a study, and I have two engineers, and even your town engineer said this is highly unusual.
Unfortunately, we have a letter here from DP, the Department of Public Works saying that they don't concur with that, though.
Right, right. That's my concern. Is the director is saying that a formal drainage study should not be removed. And
He wasn't here at the original subdivision. Where was he? He wasn't here complaining originally, because you know why? Because there was never an issue with this beaver dam. The original subdivision, he had no comments. He wasn't here to be concerned. Now all of a sudden, I improve his road. I improve the ditch line. I do a $5,000 plan. And now all of a sudden, and this is out of the blue, because 3 weeks ago.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I mean, it's very inconsistent with what you were relaying in terms of early discussion. But, the reality is we have this letter now to deal with.
we can hear from him.
Yeah.
Instead of
Sure, please.
yeah, to the microphone if you could, that'd be great.
You can see right there, Seth.
Make sure you push it, Seth.
Yeah.
Point blank, Seth, do you feel as though a study on that road is necessary?
Can I start off a little bit less point blank? I do feel like I was a little bit misled in my own ignorance at the beginning. Mr. Cousin did approach me about a driveway permit for the second lot on the bottom one, and as well as the parent lot at the top of the hill. I gave him the driveway permit for the top one, and on the bottom one, the subdivision lot, I did have some more questions. That's when I found the drainage ditch coming from the back side of the wetland area. I had questions about that, but I didn't have any other further information on it. When I was speaking to him on site, he told me that there was a plan. I thought that the plan that was given was the plan from the study at the time. So that's why that ditch that he speaks of is built to that plan. And it is rather deep, it's stone lined, and it's coming from the right area of the wetlands. Again, I thought that was the ditch. That was the plan as results of the study. So when I saw this department head review to have the study removed, that's when my red flag went off. I thought we've already passed that. Since then, in concurrence with the driveway permit, he did increase the culvert size to match that of the neighbors downstream, 18 inches bigger than average. He did have the section of ledge removed. He hammered it out on his own accord, to give him line of sight, but also he went a little bit beyond that to deepen the ditch and allow more water to flow down the side, given the fact that he was essentially directing it up there. I do agree that the water is now taut and can't get to 69 with the positioning of that ditch, so it is going to come out to the road, as he states. It always did come out to the road, but it did come out to the road at 69. Looking at it, and with him and Lank Excavation, we kind of talked. You can tell by the lay of the land, it went down behind that little ledge outcropping and came out at the road, but downhill further. So he has made significant improvements to the land and the roadside ditch to handle more water. I do have to agree that the beaver dam is smaller than you typically would think of when you think of a beaver dam. But myself, coming from a community that lost a road 3 times to a beaver dam, took it a little bit differently. In that situation, the 3 times that road was lost, it was deemed an act of nature every time. So I try and look for things like these to protect the town from things like that. I do feel like the ditch will handle the water 90% of the time. There's always going to be the unknown. Whether a study would outline that or not, I'm not sure. It is odd to see from a small subdivision. So, kind of soften my memo a little bit.
Thank you. Are there any other measures that should be taken in your mind?
I feel there should be an easement placed to that, which actually you had given me a copy of one that you were thinking earlier. I don't know if you folks have that.
I do. So we are planning on giving both neighbors an easement to allow them, because Seth had raised the concern of who's gonna clean the ditch. God forbid, another beaver moves in. I know conservation had mentioned that. And this is a simple solution. We'll give the neighbors an easement to travel. The ditch kind of meanders up the property line, but at some point it might meander one way and it might meander another way. And, time changes things. So we basically are going to build into the deeds an easement for both. And then we did it one better. The attorney wrote in, and Seth has a copy of it, to allow the town of Alton access to inspect it. And even require, really the only thing it's gonna need is basically gonna get your leaves raked out of it. I mean, any other, it'd be no different than any other ditch that's, in the woods or along someone's driveway. It's really not, it's really not a big, beautiful ditch, like I might have made it sound. It's just a stone line ditch.
With due respect, that still doesn't address the, recurrence of beavers showing up and creating more dams.
I understand. I mean, we have beavers everywhere, and where I'm at the point where I'm not allowed to build on this. This is a simple one-lot subdivision, sir. And a beaver is going to stop me from being able to build the house. With all due respect to beavers, but I mean, even the beavers that were there now were not really a big problem. I just did that. Like, if I never had mentioned the beavers being trapped, I think I would have been better off, or maybe not even done this ditch. I don't know. I was just, like I
This
told you.
concern that was raised by the adjacent landowner in terms of the flooding being attributed to the beaver dam, is that legitimate in your mind, from what you saw?
I feel he did have a legitimate concern before the ditch was made. The ditch now, like I said, does collect largely all of that, and directs it toward the road higher up, because before it was going down about halfway through the lot and entering his property about halfway.
And you're okay with the amount of water that could come off that ditch going into the road?
I'm okay with the amount of water going out there. We haven't seen a winter. I don't know what it's going to do. If that's going to stay running year-round, it could experience icing issues.
Right.
I'm comfortable with the amount of water. Like I said, 90% of the time, there's always going to be that what if, but I think it does need to be outlined and it needs to be managed. I would like to see it done in a way that the town isn't to burden it. If we did give us an easement to go on there and fix it, is fine, but I would like to see it laid out as this is, that the two lot owners really are the ones to bear the burden of cleaning that ditch, and we're merely there to enforce it.
I gotta tell you, where we're at right now, it seems like, is we asked for something, everybody agreed to it, and now we're gonna go back on a decision that we made as a board, we're gonna just go back and change it. I feel like that's going against what we do at these meetings.
I don't agree with you, sir. We did do what you asked to do.
You didn't.
Well, we understood that we did a drainage study. The study, the engineer came back and said he would want the study done not by a C-spec, he would want it done by an engineer. That was not spec'd out in your decision, okay? It doesn't say that I should provide a drainage study by a licensed professional engineer.
Well, that's what it is.
Well, I didn't, that's what your engineer said, but Fraggle Rock does these all the time, and he did, everybody's just a little
Why
further.
isn't he an engineer then?
Come again?
Why isn't he an engineer?
Why isn't he an engineer? Well,
Why didn't he just do a drainage?
I would have done an engineer, for crying out loud. I would have been happy to if I'd have known. If I'd have known, I just thought we were doing the right thing here. And again, I mean, if you look at the lot, it's a high and dry lot, not in a flood zone. Everything is very calm. It's not like there's floodwaters raging behind here. So we just thought, okay, we're gonna give him a drainage plan. I'm gonna have a certified stormwater erosion control expert, licensed with the state of New Hampshire. He does this. He works up at UNH. This is what he does professionally for a living. So this guy is not just a scientist. I thought we did the right thing here, and even the town engineer came back and said it's highly unusual that you would ask for a study on this. And this has been said to me many times, sometimes these words, plans and studies get interchanged.
But with due respect, it was study and plan. It was what we
There's
specifically
no,
requested.
yeah, well,
So I don't think there was any, word finagling going on there. I think that was explicit about what, I think the bigger question is, how did a building permit get issued before that was completed? I mean,
on the other lot.
exactly, correct.
I mean, a plan is a study. I mean, that's what a plan is. They do a study, they make a plan, a drainage plan.
So
If
that,
they, the simple lot and simple thing, well, it probably would have been a simple issue. And it wouldn't have been, like a 19 lot subdivision with this lot of detention. I mean, that's the one thing that's missing here is the detention.
with all due respect, I mean, what would I do a detention for?
Well, first of all, I mean, especially with drainage plans, see, I don't really understand the drainage at all. I mean, I don't even know where the hell the beaver dam is.
Oh, well, I can show you if you like.
There's nothing on my plans.
Can I show you guys? It might help. So, and the wetlands. Okay, it's really not like a pond or anything. It's a grassy area that's wet. And there's some standing water here and there, it's shallow. And then this is the lot here where this house we just built right there, we can't sell. And then there's a ditch, right? And this is the ditch that's in question, that staff had question right here. And what was happening with that water was just kind of passing over here, down the road.
So where's the guy who lived there?
Here. So, and what he has a drainage trench that goes down the side of his driveway too. It runs pretty deep in spring, but it's been dry. But mine's dry too, by the way, everything's dry right now. And then right about right here, there was just a small 4 foot wide, with a bunch of sticks, that's all it was. Beaver green and that thing he said that we took out, and there was like a little puddle in front of it. We took that out a couple inches a week, and after a day or two, it would just dry out to nothing. And then I just dropped it down, and one of the things the wetland guy told me, take that dam out, he says, you probably noticed a lot of that just up. And the whole idea was water built up. And that's what came up with the idea after talking with Seth, is we give these people an easement that they can just both maintain it together. I think that they'd be daily, but yeah, it's just 20, 80.
Before the ditch that you built, when we had the meeting in January, the neighbor had complained, or someone had mentioned that the neighbor had water issues from this. Before you put that ditch in, where was the water coming from? From the backside of your lot. Can I ask a favor of you? And I know this is taking away from the whole issue of what the plan's gonna, I understand we gotta get back to that quickly.
You're good.
But if you could, just on the document I have here, because this seems to have your whole lot on it. This is the area I thought was getting wet, somewhere over here. And it was coming from back here, you're saying?
Slot.
Across here?
Show the rest of the bog goes like this.
Yeah.
And then there's a little stream here. It doesn't even go on my property. It goes all the way out like this, down to the road.
And when it floods from there's a beaver dam or something up here that was causing problems, I heard. Right? When that gets backed up by the beaver dam, does the water flow through here?
No.
No.
Comes up through here. And I think Neil was just confused, and he was concerned. I've talked to him since. He's actually a really nice guy. His concern was that, maybe these dams over here were backing it up over here.
So stop for a second then. So how are we claiming that this is now dry when nothing's been done
Exactly.
through here? But that has nothing to do with the water running back here and down here. And this is now dry, and that's what you're fixing. You're with me, right? You see that,
I mean, if that in fact is the way it floods,
why is it
it's
still
not
not flooding?
flooding.
Excuse me, that's,
Give Paul
that,
the mic. Give
yes, please.
Flooding problems is, his flooding problems came from that summer that we had a 50-year storm and a 100-year storm every other week. When all the roads in Alton washed out, that's when he washed out. Um, so, so his concern was all that water that came the year before and washed out his driveway, which then storms washed out everything in Alton. Avery Hill Road was washed out twice in a month by those storms. And that's what was going down his lot. And that's why that when that beaver dam was there, all that water just filled up and came down onto his lot. Beaver's gone, and the 50 and 100-year storms hopefully won't come back for another 50 or 100 years. But that was an abnormal year for storms. We had an excessive amount of water that year.
But that's why we would require a study and a plan in the subdivision regulations under our stormwater and erosion control design standards, subsection, what is that, I? Under A, it says all drainage design shall be performed by a registered and licensed New Hampshire professional engineer, preferably having specific and recent stormwater design / permitting experience.
Is that under minor or major subdivision?
That is under,
It's under the stormwater control and drainage section.
The only question I would ask is, we don't tell every two-lot subdivision they have to do a stormwater drainage study. The reason we did it here was because there seemed to be a problem. So the question, I mean, it looks to me, see, I don't understand how this beaver dam is flooding the property unless it's growing.
It's not.
One of the problems was, and I watched the original meeting, there was a lot of talk about the ditch line, and that's why we were all too happy to deepen it, because we just felt like we were satisfying, we were trying to hit all the high points. And one of the big issues that was brought up with the gentleman in the orange hat was, I think you might have plowed there before or something.
Yep.
And you must have seen what we've done with the ditch line since then, so we've made a major improvement there. So we're just trying to hit all, like, any potential issues, we tried to do them all. And again, we didn't understand this whole professional engineer thing.
I agree with you. I did see what you've done up there, and it looks good. You have done improvements to the road. Nobody's arguing that whatsoever. Again, though, the only reason I was there at that meeting, and I remember the frustration with everybody, was the fact that the builder would build the house, and then he sells it, and then it's on to the next guy. The issue being, like Paul had said, yes, we had a horrible year. It was 50-year floods, 100, everybody hears those, But if the study was done, that would have, given them, okay, this is what's going to transpire when the water does this, when we adjust here, adjust here. It was not made, we didn't make that decision to, like, give you a hard time or anything. It was purely for the fact that the people next to you, the low-lying people, it was nothing, I can clearly see your work is good. Clearly, it's very good.
Thank you.
But the study was solely put in place to make sure that water, again, if it was from the back, I remember it being from the back and then the beaver dam coming down, it was purely for the surrounding people. I mean, if your neighbor had decided, a couple of lots down where there's those open lots, if they decided to do the same thing, we would end up making them do the same thing just because of the possibility that there could be another 50 or 100-year flood in that area, just to cover everybody, kind of. It wasn't, is it going to become the new norm? It's very well possible it could, because we're having storms that we've never had before. So we're just trying to prepare for the worst. In no way, shape, or form is it questioning your ability to engineer that road, to design it.
Yeah, I appreciate that. I mean, and again,
That's what brings me to my next question. I keep on hearing the word road. Whose road? Is it Stockbridge Corner Road?
Yeah, it's the town road.
He worked on Stockbridge Corner Road?
Just in the ditch line on the side. He improved the side.
That's not the ditch line we're talking about, is it? The big beautiful swale? The big beautiful swale comes down between the.
Part of it.
Yeah, part of
Right.
The unfortunate part of that, though, is Seth saying the amount of water that's now going to that corner is increased and the likelihood of freezing is higher.
So it,
Possibly.
We're sharing, what we're doing is we're sharing the load with Neil down below. So before it, you know, the water was coming out on the other property. And what we've done is let's say we split the load with him. You know, if it didn't all blow out at the end of Neil's driveway before, I don't see how it's gonna blow out now with the 50-year storms that we had last year. We've shared it now. We've split the load. Cause you know, again, everything used to go to him. There was nobody taking the dam down. The water would flow out the back, go onto his property completely off of mine and into his. And now we've done the ditch and we've shared it.
Except you've added the amount of water going to that ditch along the road to the corner by putting the ditch on the line, proper line between your two lots.
Yeah.
Right, and actually intensified it because now it's not going.
Intensified it, and the expert is saying it's going to increase the likelihood of icing. And that's what was said.
Said it might.
It could.
Improving on what you were saying.
Anything I say can be improved upon, absolutely.
Well, I mean, it never iced over at Neil's. We didn't have any icing issue. I've been going up and down Stockbridge my whole life, and there's never been an icing
That
issue
doesn't
there.
matter. I appreciate
How does
that.
it not matter? I don't
Because the
understand.
expert's saying it will.
Well,
That's why. It is what weighs heavier,
okay.
unfortunately, but it's
Steph, are you saying the road's gonna ice up right there?
I can't say that it can or it's not, it is or it's not going to. I'm not,
But you're
we haven't seen it, we haven't seen it go through a winter yet. Well, with the change of the water, yes, there is the possibility.
And this says higher likelihood, I think, was the exact.
We also have the Conservation Commission raising the same issue here too. I mean, that document is attached as well.
It is a tough one, right? I hear you.
really is.
And
It
I hear
really
everybody
is.
saying the great work. Unfortunately, we should have had the thing done in the beginning, right?
Yeah, if I'd have known this whole engineer thing, I would just done it. I'm kind of mad about the whole thing, but, you know, again, we really put a good foot forward here, and we've gone, even the town engineer, the ditch, he said in his email, the ditch they did may well be fine. And it's highly unusual to ask this. And that's why I'm asking you to allow me to go with this drainage plan.
He didn't have any calculations. He just went and looked and said, yeah, that should do it.
I would hope he did more than that.
But he
But
could
I mean,
not, there's no data to support it.
I just feel like if we go, to no disrespect to you, but if we go back on a decision that was made in January, what's stopping other people from feeling the same way about other things? Not necessarily something as specific as this, but they come back to us and they want us to change other things for them. I mean, the decision was made, I know you weren't here, but the decision was made based on what was transpiring at the moment.
Right.
You know, we did what we could at the time that we thought was best.
so I would ask the board then, what do I do meanwhile? I mean, I've got a house built. At least let me, at least let me subdivide the first lot while I get this drainage study done. It's gonna take months. It might be next year. It will be next summer before I build this house now. And I cannot afford, you're gonna bankrupt me right here and now if you don't let me sell the top house separate from this. There's just no need of it. So there's gotta be some way, like you can hold this one contingent on a building permit and the building permit's contingent on the drainage study that you're
And
planning.
this all has to go through the one gentleman you mentioned for the study.
Yeah, we have to hire an engineer now. I have Barry Engineering that said he would do it, but he's gonna need months to do it. And then it's gotta go to your engineer, and then if he wants something, it's gonna go back to my engineer. All for one single lot subdivision, and to be honest with you, I don't know how many other times it's,
Subdivision.
well, it's one lot turned into
Not
two.
subdivided. Two lots.
Okay, it's 2 lot 1 to 2 is what it is, yeah.
Two lots of.
I had one, I made one more, so I have 2. I'm not making 2, I'm making one more.
So if you made three, would it be 3 lot subdivision or a one?
I don't know, yeah, I don't wanna split hairs with you, but
But that's not.
what my point is that, I was issued a building, I told Seth I'd have been better off not to just give him a permit at this point.
Yeah, that's-
because now I
that's
have
why
an-
you go
I have a $750,000 home sitting there. It's literally getting finished paint right now. Septic went in this week. They're gonna loam it, and I'm literally stuck. And if I, at this point, I'm gonna spend another 10 grand on a study, which my engineer is telling me is not necessary, but I'm gonna do it because I have to,
When did your son pick up the permits and was told that the other one was gonna be held up?
back in April or May. I can't remember now.
But you did know back in May that there was an issue with it.
Yeah, and that's when we resubmitted, with a report on, so we did a plan, and then Damon went back and wrote the report, added that, and then that's when Jesse sent it to the town engineer. So, and again, I was going off a different piece of paper. This is like, it's a comedy of errors, really, because the paper I went off did not say study, it said plan. And I think it might have been the minutes, the original minutes I was reading. And then when I watched the YouTube video, whatever the video was, a lot of you were just saying plan, and then one person said study, and then it just got picked up. But it's neither here or there. I mean, I gotta do what I have to do, but, there's gotta be some way to just, they won't even issue the 911 address on the lot.
You read this out loud, right? The original motion, right? So the original motion was to approve case 2502, map 5, lot 3-2 for a final minor subdivision with the condition that before a building permit is issued, a drainage study and plan be completed with the conditions precedent. Motion by Mr. Brown, second by Mr. Divney, motion passed unanimously. So
Yes.
it was in there.
Yes, sir, I don't
Okay.
disagree with that.
It was in there.
Yeah,
So-
I was reading minutes that were on the website at the time. It was not in there. That is the notice of
These are the minutes
decision.
right here. So-
I understand, but they weren't there when I first read them.
The problem is that a permit was issued prematurely in this whole thing, unfortunately.
And I did not realize that the study was required to be done by a professional engineer. So,
I mean, the problem that we've got is, I think you mentioned it, is that if what it does in terms of precedent for other situations really raises some red flags.
It says subdivision, doesn't say one lot, it's a subdivision.
I wish you had been here that night, cause he was very adamant and very upset about the amount of watershed. So like I said at the time,
Yeah.
we did the best we could with the information.
you
we
guys were
provided.
stuck. I get it. No, I understood. I would have probably made the same decision. I have Neil's letter if you want to read it. You probably should have it. in your
Again,
packet,
Neil
but-
is your neighbor.
He's
your
a neighbor.
adjacent property.
Yeah,
for
and
the
he's
record.
very, very satisfied, and, every time I talk to him, his biggest concerns seem to always come from basically at the road, where his culvert is, and he was just like, this is great, this is the best it's ever been. And, again, we made one lot, it's a minor subdivision, and I was just hoping that, we could have you accept what we've done.
Impact his lot. It's the best it's ever been.
Well, we did,
For your words.
well, no, it's not, I think you're misunderstanding me. We're sharing the lot. By putting this ditch here and removing that little teeny dam, it's shared the load with him.
Tell me the water runs around, not across.
It does, but it's all the same tributary, right? So if you take, and relieve it in one spot and relieve it in another spot, now you're splitting the load.
Everything that we're discussing would be rectified in that study. Everything we're discussing right now.
I make a motion, we deny the waiver. And as far as building permit, send it to the town attorney.
Can I just clarify something? So,
It would be.
it's not a waiver?
The case, the
Oh, it's a
application.
resubmission?
Yes.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
That would mean that we're denying the
It
subdivision.
would be to deny it, right? The application would be to deny the application to remove it's to deny the application to remove the condition to have the drainage study done from approved
Case 25.
case P 2502. So,
You added that, Robert?
I don't know what you said. Why don't you make the motion, Bill?
Well, Roger, you did. I mean, you made the motion to deny it, so.
Yeah.
We need a second if anybody wants to second it.
And just so I'm clear, we're denying the application to not require,
Yes.
Right.
then I'll second, and second what Roger submitted.
All right.
Again, but it was drainage study and plan, to be specific, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
So he's already got the plan, it's the study.
Well, no, we don't.
Well, I
Well,
mean,
he has,
So really,
you know what, he has something outlined.
Exactly.
Yes,
Creates a point.
yes.
so it's not sufficient just to have a drainage study completed either. I mean, depending on the outcome of that, defines what the plan will be for mitigation is.
Yeah, when he gets it, he'll submit it to the town engineer and they'll say, yay, okay, this works, or we need to tweak it here, we need to do whatever. And then the plan is put in place after the study, you're correct.
My point is about the language that we approve here, though, that it should still be consistent, say drainage study and plan.
Correct.
Okay.
Do we have to amend that?
That's,
Amend his,
based on what I heard, I think we do.
okay.
As long as,
Well, our original language said, stated
Right,
that.
and it should be consistent with what was in the original language.
Okay, motion and second.
okay, so we have a motion and a second to deny the removal of the condition to have the drainage study and plan done from approved case. We are denying that. Okay, that's the motion.
Yes.
Does everyone agree?
I'll second that.
Okay. Okay, any further discussion?
We need to open up the public.
Yeah. All right, let's hold that. Anyone from public have any questions or concerns or, I'm sorry, we got a little ahead of ourselves. Anybody from the public have anything talk about the case? Sure,
You come on up to the.
come on up.
I'm trying to understand what just happened here.
Can you just introduce yourself?
Identify yourself, please.
I'm Amy Stanley. Sorry, I live in town, but I'm also the realtor with the house that's almost completed. And he was issued a building permit for this property. And now we've got a complete house ready to sell. That's still hanging here where he was trying to find out what he's supposed to do about that. All of this started with a neighbor coming in, correct? So your study that you required was based off the neighbor's supposed.
This has all been from January, so
Right.
everything has been in black and white since January.
Right. So your original order, study, that I didn't have a question about, was based off incorrect information from the neighbor.
No, there was a watershed issue up there. It wasn't incorrect. It was what was happening.
However, he's relieved the guy's flooding, correct? Now.
We
he has
cannot go back on a decision that was made in January.
By this meeting.
He wasn't here.
Excuse me, but he was notified, just to clarify that for the record. So the town satisfied their requirements by law,
Okay.
by
And he
mailing
came
it out.
back.
It is not the town's.
It's his subdivision.
Well, how was he supposed to be here to defend
It's
himself?
his subdivision.
Correct, it was his subdivision.
If I was doing a subdivision, I'd know when it was. I'd want to find out when it was. I'd have a clue. I wouldn't be waiting for a letter in the
He came back
mailbox.
to the town and asked to have it heard again. However, he's done everything everybody's asked to do, correct? The DOT asked him to fix, was I wrong in that, the drainage on the road? Because I was questioning him honestly, saying, why are we correcting drainage on public road? Like, why is this your problem? But he went ahead and improved that. True. The neighbor's now satisfied, but now we've got this conundrum that the word study was used. I guess I'm just asking, you are saying this is gonna start a precedent, so basically it also starts a precedent for neighbors to adjoining other subdivisions to come in, set off alarms with misinformation, and now we're gonna be.
Not in time. The misinformation.
Just asking.
The misinformation that you're talking about is, at the time, he was here. I know that what that road looked like. I know what the water looked like. I was there. You know,
After the 14 weeks of rain that we had here.
what's to stop it from having another 14 weeks of
In
rain?
January.
Listen, it's not, your road washes all that road is, yeah, yes, it does.
He has to do it himself. And he also goes across the street and cleans out the gutter there to keep the road from washing away. It's all over town. So I guess there's a house, this was a subdivision that happened years ago, correct? The guy down below him added additional garage and everything else to his, the same guy complaining about the water, added to his property as well. And who's to say that?
That was years ago. We're trying to deal with here and
I
now.
don't think it was that long ago. I remember him complaining.
I don't understand what point it makes. I mean,
Does it
you
say-
don't really-
Yeah, I guess it doesn't, but I'm asking, but what do we do with this house that is?
Get the
this
study.
Does has a building
Yeah.
permit on it, correct? And it's not part of the lot. If it was subdivided, this lot down here that's not built on would be the issue. That would have the study and you'd figure it out. Meanwhile, the lot up above, the 5.5 acre lot, that we do have the building permit and now a house.
Everything was encompassed in one case. We can't
Well,
separate
how did
them.
you issue a building permit though, is what I'm asking.
We
How
didn't.
did we get that in the
We
first
didn't.
place?
I don't know, we don't issue building permits, the planning board doesn't do that.
They must have some sort of standards in order to issue one, correct?
Of course they do.
Right, so he built a house with a building permit from the town that we can't do anything
Again,
with.
though, when he
Is what
did
I'm
get
trying
the
to say.
building permit,
Sorry, I'm just trying to.
no, you're fine.
This whole second thought, they, for the building permit, the studies they got.
I don't think we can do that. We can't separate the case. It has to be encompassed in one case.
You can't approve subdivision with the second lot with a contingency?
Because it was all done under one case number. It was, he took one plot of land, subdivided it under one case, and then it trickles down from there. No, this is not, you gotta understand, this is nothing against you whatsoever.
When did you apply for the building permit? Okay, so it says right here on the motion, okay? From January. With the condition that before a building permit is issued, a drainage study and plan will be completed. So you shouldn't have gone to get a building permit until this study and plan was done. Okay? You didn't have the study because you don't have it now. Where's? Right, but this, I'm sorry, I forget your name, but she was saying, how did we issue a building permit? We don't issue building permits on the planning board, okay? But again, I'm just trying to get to that. You know, it shouldn't have been, you know, the study and plan should have been done prior to the building permit.
Driveway permits are different than what we're talking about here. Okay. A couple days later, that's when you told you get the until the seventh. You know, at this point, the question is there anything we can do to help accelerate this? You know, I understand the dilemma you're in at this point. The question is how do you get through that? I don't see any way to back off of the obligation to have a study and
we would have to have.
Mr. Chair,
Yes.
so technically, I don't even know why a building permit was asked for, because the conditions haven't even been met yet. Their subdivision plan hasn't even been signed, nor has it been recorded. So all of that is premature.
And it wasn't finalized, that.
Correct. So that permit never should have even been asked for before
if we
this
do
was
anything
completed,
to-
because that is a condition subsequent. I don't approve building permits.
All right, stop. I'm asking you to stop. Stop, please. We have.
He also told me in writing, have that email, that I could not come back to see you, that I had no right. And then 6 months later, in June, she tells me your only option now is to come back to the board. And really,
So maybe I wasn't clear. Maybe I was not clear when I said do not address people like that on this board. So here's what I'm gonna do. Amy's talking for public input. Amy, if you're all set, we're gonna close public input. Are you all set?
Yeah, I guess we didn't come to.
Bill.
Okay. Any other public input?
Mr. Shea.
Hi, Richard Shea, member of the Board of Selectmen, but certainly not speaking on their behalf. This is an incredible mess.
Yep.
It really is. Everybody's going to come out a loser here. I realize there are legal precedents, and you can always look back, and this board has to do this, at if we do this now, then anybody can do anything they want later because we didn't follow the rules. And there certainly is a risk, but I think that risk is extraordinarily slight in this case, and there's so many complications and curveballs here that it would be an easy position to defend. I would urge the board, at the risk of taking a perfectly usable and saleable house and having it just sit there when we have such a need for additional housing in this town and this state, and also taking a small businessman and putting his business at risk when he seems to have done everything he thought was correct. If there is any way, even if it looks a little bit shaky on the legal side, that we can help him out, get that house on the market, allow him to continue and follow through with the necessary additional plans, I would urge the board to do so. It's not clear to me how you can do a flood control plan or a drainage plan without having a drainage study ahead of time. And maybe the only difference is the study is defined by being done by a certain class or license of individual, and the plan is not. I don't know that, but if there's anything you can do to amend this situation, there certainly is no ill intent or intent to deceive on the part of anyone. And we're a small town. We have some flexibility. Whatever you can do would be appreciated. Thank you.
I term as far as any building permits and further goes to the attorney. It's not a decision that we make.
You can revise this, make it.
Well-
Conditions don't involve for that second part.
It's approving a subdivision.
Subdivision approved.
Mm.
You don't hear.
None of what he's saying is being captured, just so that you know.
You can revise your condition of approval to make that drainage study only for lot 2. Because lot 1 isn't involved with this water issue where the house is built. So now he's just wants to be able to sell that house. You can revise your condition of approval to make that drainage study just for lot 2. You can't get a building permit till the drainage study's done for that lot.
Okay.
Just a suggestion.
So, and Paul, I understand what you're saying. The project overview is to remove condition to have drainage study done from approved case 2502. So
We're cutting that condition in half.
But how, right, but that's what the project overview is. So how do we make it a condition of precedent to have the study done if we vote in favor of having the condition removed? It's the way that it's worded.
All in the wording.
It's the way that it's worded that makes it kind of tough. We're not accepting or denying a
But
plan.
but-
We're accepting or denying a removal of a condition. That's what that's right. Now I'm reading this right.
Correct.
Okay.
That's correct.
So this is where it gets kind of a little hairy here. So if we are going to try to work this out, we have to be very careful of how we do this because the way that the application is written.
So
See what I'm saying?
I do.
Okay.
But again, you can sit there and just, I think we can revise that condition. He's in here trying to amend that condition of approval, the previous one, and you can sit there and probably, you can just say, okay, so now the new condition is drainage study required for lot 2.
All right.
I don't see how we can possibly separate them. I wish we could, but I
Well-
don't see how we can possibly separate them. Because if we approve this,
Well,
this
first
is,
we'd have to withdraw I'd have to withdraw my motion and we'd have to withdraw the.
Roger's got it as stands.
Okay. And then we'd have to make a motion, I think, to amend the condition.
I think they almost had to come back
All right.
with the second application.
You have to come back and start over again.
Yeah.
Unless we can, if you
And
guys
try
are
to do that
okay,
next month and try to facilitate.
if you guys are okay with making, if we can make a motion
I make a motion to continue it. If he wants to continue it, I hate to.
yeah, but if you continue it, you're still continuing the
the
same.
entire-
And
yes.
saying-
The same, and it's, we're
You
still
really
the
need-
same problem because the language in it is to remove a condition. And again, if we deny it to, then it's denied, it's done. If we're trying to work with him to get through this, we'd have to change the project overview or amend the project overview to to change it from removing a condition to making a condition for a drainage study as part of the conditions for approval, which he was already approved in P 2502, right?
Mhm. He was approved with the studies on the lots.
Right.
Just a question, could we
Because
continue
we're
with
basically
the-
doing the same thing over again that we did in January.
Can we continue with the denial and have him come back next month and reapply with the conditions that he could sell the one lot?
Well, we'd have to,
Or does that involve the O2?
I feel like this all stems back to going back and changing what was originally discussed in January. I feel like no matter how we slice it,
we have
I'm
to,
in
the only
the same
way,
camp. I think that-
the only way probably is we would have to we'd have to approve it and actually remove the condition.
But it goes back to that case P 2502 for both lots. I think
Right.
you have to deny this and then subsequently come back with a different set of conditions relative to case 2502.
Well, that's the thing, and he can do it very easily, he can get it done by next month.
Right,
This isn't final because it wasn't signed, so all he has to do is withdraw 2502. I would.
Oh, 25.
25, you know,
22.
don't withdraw 2502, that's the approval one.
Well, it was approved with the drainage study, okay? So he just, the total case, just withdraws the whole thing, resubmits it for next month for the same thing, 2-lot subdivision, this, that, the other thing. Now, when he comes in, we've got more knowledge, we say, okay, yeah, we'll do this, but you gotta do the drainage study over here. This looks okay, but you need, this side needs a drainage study.
So the second lot requires a drainage study and plan.
Right, right. So
As
that
a
way.
Why can't you do that in this meeting? Why wait?
Because it's not split, it doesn't talk about both lots.
It actually has to go through the whole process, it has to be noticed, because he's with, the only way you could do it is to withdraw his subdivision, like just back out of it like it's never here.
Back out of this amendment subdivision,
Yes.
this application.
2522,
The
withdraw.
subdivision is still approved
You approve it next month, so.
with different conditions.
It's different conditions, exactly, on two separate lots being.
That way, it's out of all the trouble we're in.
That's what he was trying to do here.
But this has to be withdrawn, this has to go away. Right now, he's approved, and he has to do a drainage study.
It doesn't talk about the explicit obligation for the two separate lots in the way this was approved or submitted. If you withdraw this and then we come back and you come back and say that the drainage study and plan applies to the second lot, and is a separate condition is approval for the existing property with a house on it, that we could approve that potentially is the way I would see it.
So it's just changing the application narrative.
Yeah, correct.
Overview.
So,
And
so we
talking
can-
about it as
so
two
we can
separate
approve
lots.
that so you can sell the house. We're looking away to approve this so you can sell the house, right?
Plus
That's
the
what
obligation
you
we
wanna sell
still
the
have
house,
for
right?
conducting a study and the plan. Excuse me?
Say it's approved for one lot but not for the other, because that's really all it would be.
I think that's legally a pretty shaky ground to do
So
that.
so the request was to have the drainage study removed. So it didn't talk about the plan, and it didn't
Yeah.
talk about it
It
being
was
split
just-
between two lots, so correct, that's not what's being asked for.
Right, exactly.
And it's not
And
what was
I think if
noticed.
we approve something along those lines, I think we're in deep.
And that subdivision plan needs to get recorded prior to that house being sold. So,
Still,
so,
after it was approved, he would still need to, I see what you're saying.
so just so,
Cross that bridge when you.
okay, so just so that we're clear, the condition to provide this plan and study is listed under subsequent conditions. So that's stuff he needs to do after. So what was required for conditions precedent, the only outstanding thing was submission of final plans and obtaining subdivision approval. So once those were done, then he would have satisfied conditions precedent. Plans can be signed and recorded,
Okay. So.
making it clear.
So if this is, if the drainage study is subsequent,
Right, that was pending the building permit, which, that takes place after the plans are signed.
okay. So can we, but again, it's the wording,
Right.
so.
He still needs to reapply. I just was making it clear where that
So-
condition was
so-
listed.
So, I mean, there's one or two options. Either he withdraws this submission or we deny it, I would say it.
Right, but we can't change this tonight.
Correct.
Okay.
Right, that's the problem.
Either way, you're coming back, I would
Okay, but
take it away and start over.
so for him so for us to be able to prove so he can sell the house even next month, we can make the drainage study subsequent. So
Right,
he
like
could
it is
still,
now.
so he could still sell the house. So if he had worded this, if this was worded differently, we could have done it tonight. Well, you know, that's, if we could, we would, but
There's plenty of opportunity to go around
we,
and
we can't,
find
we
where the
can't
errors
change
have happened.
what the project overview is, and it's to remove it. Okay. And then we'll approve it and you can sell it.
Try to we understand the dilemma and.
Yeah, but it's not, it's next month, you know, instead of 6 months. It's instead of 6 months.
We're trying.
And we just wanna make sure this is clean, so, okay?
And there's no way to get the engineer to move faster on this and just get it done.
That was the other question.
Right.
I mean, that's the really, seems like the easy path to me. Yeah.
Because the obligation is still
Engineers
gonna be
are out
there
a
to
year.
do the study and a plan, right, for the other lot, no matter what.
Still, I don't do big subdivisions.
Remember, we also have the comments, Seth, relative to the additional water that's run to the corner that we gotta address too, right? Oh, that's for sure.
Appreciate your time.
Yeah, sorry about all the confusion. Yeah, thank you.
You said.
Thanks, Seth.
I wasn't, thanks.
Should have been. Come on.
Mine are easier.
Quit bragging.
Don't say that.
All right, so next one is case P 25-23 Prospect Mountain Survey. Paul Zuzgo, agent for Paulette C. Alden Brooks 1997 Trust. Proposal to adjust lot lines for 2 lots of record, with lot 4 adjusted from 21,833 square feet to 13,765 square feet. 76 square feet, and lot 5 adjusted from 7,009 square feet to 15,400 square feet.
No waivers.
No waivers. No drainage problem.
Or is the submission complete?
Didn't see the VBA.
Are you all set? You got everything that you need for this? Right?
Just the usual sample deeds that you guys usually,
Okay.
put as a condition of approval.
We can do that.
Yes. Sorry, I just, sometimes my brain works a little slow. We probably should have told him he needs to withdraw in writing, correct?
I'm
I-
sure he'll be getting.
Yeah, I don't,
Yeah.
I don't think he would need to do that in writing. If it was maybe he was sending it in an email, we had a verbal conversation, but yeah, I feel like it was in a public forum.
Yes, I'd say with the minutes
Yeah.
captured.
Oh, can you imagine
It
what
was
the
done
minutes
in
are
a
gonna look
public
like?
forum.
Yeah.
I feel like that was
Yeah, those
appropriate.
minutes are gonna be a
Those are gonna
nightmare.
be
Give him a phone call and tell him, submit it in writing. Or email. So there's no questions.
So I'll make a motion that we consider case P 2523 as the application is complete with a notation that sample deeds need to be a condition of approval.
I'll second that.
Okay, any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Okay, Paul, you're up. Looks like they're moving a line near a garage or something.
What's that?
Looks like moving a property line by a garage.
Well, yeah. So Paulette owns both lots.
Okay.
You can see that lot 4 kind of goes a little horseshoe around lot 5. She wants to be able to sell lot 5, but make it better. So in doing so, we had to go through zoning because of setbacks. And we went through 2 or 3 months because nobody knew exactly what we had to apply for. Finally ended up that we no longer need to apply for equitable waivers on setbacks if the buildings, for instance, these 2 houses, one was built in the 30s, one was built in the 40s. So both houses were built before zoning. Those are grandfathered as long as no building permits were issued after zoning was enacted. But on lot 4, the deck was built after zoning, so we had to get the equitable waiver for the deck on lot 4 in the back. So the houses are grandfathered. The garages are within the setbacks, but with the boundary line adjustment, I'm gonna make them so that they meet all setbacks. So the only thing that's gonna be within the setbacks would be the deck on lot 4. I also changed the lot sizing. Actually got a variance to make a non-conforming lot smaller. But because in this zone, the lot size is 15,000 square feet. There wasn't 30,000 square feet to divide up here, so we made them as best as we could. So lot 4 ended up being 13,000 square feet. You can see in the boundary line adjustment plan where I moved the lines. It makes lot 5 much more sellable. It makes it also 15,400 square feet. So they're almost equal in area. It just really makes these lots aesthetically better, sellable. Lot 5 didn't have a backyard. Now it does. And I guess that's about it. We got our zoning variance and equitable waiver. Now we just need the boundary line adjustment approved.
no concerns from any of the, reviewing bodies either, right?
Correct.
Pretty simple to me.
Yep.
I will need to get state subdivision approval. Lot 4, because I made it smaller.
You'd have to
I
get,
have to. I have to get state subdivision approval for lot 4 because I made it smaller. But, they both meet state, I don't see a problem getting state subdivision approval. Lot loading works.
so we gotta make ours contingent on you getting that then.
That would be contingent.
So I'm gonna add that as condition, condition precedent number 6.
Yeah.
I never apply for state subdivision approval until I get your guys' approval. I hate going to them with changes or coming back for changes.
You never do that? You never come in here with state subdivision approval?
No, because you guys could change it. I go get state subdivision approval and you don't like something, I have to change the plan, now I gotta go amend it with the state.
We give subdivision approval, we don't know the state's gonna do it.
State's a lot easier than you sometimes. We already know what the state's gonna do. It's you guys that change everything. The state's easy.
Hey, what's the setback from the garage on,
After, before or after?
after? It looks like it's the same either way. They're both
Look, no, you can see
Yeah, the line became
the
closer.
dash line.
The line became
Go on.
closer to the garage, right?
What's that?
The line moved closer to the garage.
The dash line is the old line.
And the
Solid line, I moved it so that it's exactly 20 feet between both garages.
So it fits, all right.
I was amazed.
I'm just surprised you moved it close. Okay.
Good eye, I missed that.
And when did 21,000 become the same as 14,000?
50.
50, yeah, good. That's just a comment, no question.
What's that?
Nothing.
Yeah, he was just busting you.
I wasn't busting you.
Be easy after my bedtime.
I'll make a motion that we accept case.
Hold on.
Oh, we didn't go to public. All right.
Anybody else have any other questions? Okay, I'd like to open public. Public have anything? No, okay, I'll close public. Okay, now you can make your motion. All right, fine.
I'll make a motion that we accept case number, it's Mark Manning for the record. I'll make a motion that we accept case number P25-23 as submitted with the condition that the state approval come through.
And additional conditions.
Subsequent. Subsequent.
And I think you're technically approving it, not accepting it, just for the record.
Thank you.
Second that stuff.
Okay. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries.
That was easy.
Much easier.
The next one should be 2 because you've already seen it.
And the last one, right, is P25-24, Prospect Mountain Survey for Lee Hillsgrove, subdivide a 252.9 acre parcel into 2 lots of record. Parent lot at 238 acres and 1 lot at 2.59 acres, which is the one we heard last month.
Yeah, we had to go back and change it, I think, right?
Yep.
Yeah. Make a motion, we accept P 25-24 as complete.
I'll second that.
Any discussion?
There's no waivers?
I don't think we had any.
There are waivers.
Yeah, we should do the waivers first.
All the waivers go toward the remaining land. We
Right.
need everything on the lot we're subdividing off.
There were a lot. So just so you know, when there are a lot of waivers, I give you guys the actual waiver request instead of typing it all out. If there's just a couple of them, we'll throw it on the plan review. But if there's a lot, we just say, see attached.
It wasn't, at least it wasn't in my attachment.
So, I'm gonna read through them. You guys know?
Did you get them? Because it's on the.
Is it on the other side of the project narrative?
Project narrative.
Okay. Does everybody have one?
No, I don't, but it's okay, go ahead.
Do you want me to make a copy for you?
No, it's all right.
Okay, just take a
I'll
piece of
cheat.
mine, because
You done with it?
I know where I am.
All right. It's all for the remaining land, right?
Do we need to address them individually, or can we do them as a group?
If everyone's okay with it, I mean, it doesn't matter. If you wanna make a motion for all of them.
I'll make a motion that we accept the waivers due to the fact that they are all for the portion being subdivided.
I'll second that.
Yeah. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. And now we can do completeness. Yeah, okay, so do we have a second? Did we get a second?
You did.
Seconded it.
Okay, all right, any discussion on the completeness? All right, all in favor? All opposed? Motion carries. You have anything to add?
Okay, so we were here for the design review and went over everything then. Basically the same application,
Just cutting off a little chunk at the beginning.
just cutting off a 2-acre lot. We meet all the regulations, 200, because it's on the corner, we have to have 200 feet on both roads. We do have that. Access is gonna be off Dudley Road, so we don't need a state highway driveway permit. There are no wetlands on this lot. I show all the slopes. We meet lot loading for the state. You only need 600 gallons. We've got 1,900 gallons a day. Not much more to say, really. I mean, it's 2-acre buildable lot. except a $750,000 house on it already.
Well, I guess houses are expensive, but 750 there? Highway?
I know one sold in Farmington for $850. A ranch. A 1-acre lot in Farmington. Uh-huh.
Highway?
No, it's on the back road.
Red hash money, but
That's the slopes, 25%.
isn't it? It's sloped all the way along the road?
It is sloped.
Just not over 25%.
Not over 25%.
Questions, I'll motion that we accept case P 25
Got to open to public first.
Yeah. Did you guys have any other questions? No other questions? Okay. I'll open public. Public, have anything? No? Okay. Close public. Go ahead, Raj.
Make a motion that we accept, approve case P 25-24.
Second that.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries.
This one needs base subdivision approval too. Make it a condition. Good, under 5A.
Oh, and you, with the state? Yeah.
So there is a.
Take care of you, Roger.
Number 5.
That-
Conditions precedent number 5 requires you to submit any federal, state, or local permits. That's kind of a generic one, but I think it covers it.
All right. Thank you. Thanks, Paul. All right, so that's it for the cases. And let's see. Old business, nothing. New business. Approval of minutes. Tuesday, July, from the July minutes.
All right, make a motion, we accept the Tuesday, July 15th, 2025 minutes as presented.
They look good. I'll second it.
Okay. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Okay, good discussion, 25, 26 Act Committee, CIP Committee.
Yep, so just wanted to let you guys know, we're well on the way, with our CIP committee. We've already had 3 meetings. We've met with Park and Rec and with Ryan so far. We have 3 more meetings scheduled, to meet with fire, police, highway, SAU, and IT. And we've, hoping to, present on October 21st to the planning board. That's CIP. Zach, hasn't met yet. We will meet for the first time, next Wednesday. There are numerous land use changes, just with, changes in law. So they're on a whole, lot of new.
Yeah, the new legislation.
Yeah, there's not a whole lot of new amendments to propose this year. There's a whole bunch of stuff that we need to amend and update in the current ordinances. That's it
Who's
for
on
that.
Zach now? Because I thought I was off.
Doug is, I think, yeah, I think you and Nick.
Hello. We're on that again, Bob.
You on this?
I think I'm off.
I don't think you're on Zach,
Zach,
right?
you participated last year.
I nominate Mark for the Zach.
As evidence,
I would second
I speak too off much in any of these meetings.
No.
I can't remember who else is on.
All right.
That's my cheeky shenanigans.
And there's a meeting
Franklin.
next Monday?
Like Rich.
Wednesday.
Oh, Wednesday.
Wednesday. And I'll have
Okay.
stuff out to you probably Wednesday, just because there's just so much to work on.
All right.
Yes.
All right. That's it?
Yep.
All set? Okay.
Mhm.
We'll move on to correspondence for the board review, discussion, and action. A review request for extension for case P 24-28 lot line adjustment for Scott Williams.
Yep, so that was, he had 12 months to complete his conditions precedent.
Yep.
And so his request, he needs an extension on that.
Thought he withdrew it.
No, he did not withdraw.
So is that something we have to make a motion on?
So, yes, so then I would come up with some time frame, like 6 months, a year, whatever you feel like maybe.
We have a normal, don't we?
Yeah, I thought it was 6
Yes, sir.
extensions at a time, I think.
I think it's at least a year.
A year?
At least, yeah.
We can put a year.
It's up to you guys.
That's fine.
Yeah, it doesn't, yeah.
Right. I'll make a motion, we approve the request for an extension for case P 24-28 lot line adjustment, with the stipulation that he has 365 days.
I'll second.
Okay, any discussion? All in favor? All opposed? Motion carries. All right, let's see, B, voluntary merger of pre-existing lots, application Lakes Hospitality Group LLC, map 16 lots 18 and 20, Cherry Valley Road.
It's 18, even a 2-acre lot. Looks ridiculously small here, but maybe it's looking at the
Yeah,
wrong
they're just making it bigger, right? They're just merging them.
Oh, yeah,
Right, that
it's
would be,
big.
They're just making it bigger.
that was a requirement of
Right,
their
yeah. So,
approval.
I think it was 18 before. Do we know?
it's,
I guess it doesn't matter if we move it, so don't worry about
yeah,
it.
they're making it bigger, so, yeah.
With this.
No, we got it.
Oh, taking a look at these lots and they're all bigger than 2 acres, right? I mean, that's what we approved, I thought.
But
Christine have it?
if it's an existing, there's a lot of lots too that were
Little
existing
map.
that are like
Yeah.
quarter of an acre. But if you merge them, you make them bigger anyway, so this,
This is the one that, 20 lot subdivision, right?
yeah.
Uh,
this is the-
yeah.
Yeah.
Whatever, 18, yes.
Yeah, they just merged that little tiny.
Right.
like,
Yeah, so
Large, so.
that's the least of the issues.
It's one of the easy ones, yeah.
What's that?
Something's, because we approved 18 lots. There's now 20 lots, or 22 even, or
No.
25.
No, those are separate properties.
Oh, thank you. Okay, thank you.
Yes.
All right. So,
This is something we're making them do anyway.
yeah, I'll make a motion that we approve, it's 25-26, right? P 25-26,
Correct.
right? For voluntary, lot merger of pre-existing lot application, map 16 lot 18 and map 16 lot 20 for the Lakes Hospitality Group LLC.
Second.
Okay, any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Was done, alright, information, nothing, board's information, issue permits, nothing. Any other business to come before the board? Anything from public?
Well, I got something.
No? You're it, man, you're it.
Speak now, forever hold your peace.
Did you have any correspondence?
do.
Go ahead.
Well, no, I haven't.
Hmm?
I don't know if it's the right time. I was asked by the Conservation Commission to ask Jess when there might be a follow-up for the master plan committee.
We do have a meeting. I think it's in September. There are things that I need to do from our May meeting, and it's August. So, yeah, I'm behind. Yeah, just so that you know.
Asked to.
Yes,
They don't
so
want
just so
to-
that you can relay that, yes, I am trying to find extra time. Doing my best.
Okay, we know that.
I make a motion, we adjourn.
Okay. Any discussion? All in favor? All opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, everyone. Oh, 8:30.